Okay. So after a long time, I finally figured out how to do this. So I'll show you guys, but to do it, we're gonna need to do some housekeeping. So your bogey trail object, where did my mouse go? Down here. If you click on that, it doesn't really have any intelligence, and it's kind of gonna need it. So the first thing we're gonna do is on your bogey, not the main object, but this one here. I want you to add that to a group. Come over here to Node, Groups, on the right side here. And right under Manage Groups, I want you to type bogies. Okay? Hit enter, it adds it to the group. You can tell it added it to the group over here, left side. And then we're going to need a script. So I want you to click up here, attach script, and just load is fine. Alright, so all we're going to need to do in this script is add these three things. First one is the variable trail. It's a boolean. It's true. This means it is the trailing bogey. Okay. It's going to want to know if it's the engine or the trailing. It's going to be the trailing always, so true. And we need forward, which will let us know if the car is moving positively or negatively on its track. Let me see if I can show that to you. If we go back here, and I was to go to the 3D world, and I click on this train here. Oh, it's still in the inspector. Now, if we go down here to progress, okay, watch the train on the left, and just click and drag, and see how it moves. Okay. Now come back over here to the right side and look at progress. Notice how it's going up as the train goes this way, and going back as the train goes. It's going down. That's what I mean by forward backward. And this is the gotcha of this system, is that all your tracks need to follow this orientation. Okay, whatever forward is, whatever way you built your main loop, everything needs to branch off of that. Okay, it can end wherever it wants, but it needs to branch off in the same direction. Okay, if you do your track here, down here for example, and come back this way, it'll mess the whole thing up. It's the only thing to do is if your track, you started going this way and around, then any other branches you do need to go the same way. They need to start the same way. Okay, because that's forward. Back to our script, that's the forward, and then it's also just going to want to know the path that it's on. So we're going to do an onReady variable path, which is a path 3D, and we're just going to get its parent, because its parent will be whatever path it's on when it gets spawned and added by our train script. Alright? That's item 1 on the agenda. It now is intelligent enough to know some things. At this point, it's a good idea too to go into your engines thing, because it's still going to be on the old bogey. Just double check, make sure it's in the groups. The group, node, groups. Make sure it's in bogies too. If it's not, just add it. Bogies, like we did before. Alright, that way all bogies will be in that group. Item number 2. In your main train script, we're going to need a couple new variables. One is this here. here. Path trail equals false. It's just like the one on the trailing bogey, except this one will never be the trail, so just make it false. And forward. Is it going forward? And we'll set that to true because I'm assuming you're going clockwise around your loop. If you're not, maybe that's false for you. And then we need to roll down here. And right here, set it. After you do the speed minus power, if speed is ever less than 0, make forward false. And make bogey trails forward false. Okay? These two. So that it kind of knows what's going on. And I guess we should do the other way too. So let me fix that now. If speed. Oh no, we can do that. We can do that at the bottom. Else. If speed, or just else at all. If speed's not 0, or not less than 0, then it's forward. Forward equals true. Oh my gosh. Okay. Forward equals true. And the bogey trails forward will also be true because it's following. Does whatever the other one does. So true. Okay. And that's, we need to bump that out one. Highlight it all. Shift tab. Back it up one because it needs to run if the engine is engaged, whether we're changing it speed or not. Alright. Now that that's done, next thing we're going to do is we're going to change. Okay, so this one down here where it says bogey trail progress, we're going to change that. For now, do shift 3, comment that out, and we're going to change it to bogey trail dot progress plus equals speed times delta. Okay, it's the same as up here. It's gonna literally do the same thing as the main bogey. Just follows it around. Then take this one, copy. Woo. Okay, copy. Control C. Or Control X. I guess we don't need it. But either way, Control C. Come down here to bogey trail progress and change bogey trail progress line to that. Control V. Alright, that way it'll set its distance when it spawns and then it'll just follow around the other one for the rest of time. And that should be everything on the train's end. Now we can get started on our switch. So to make a switch, you're going to go up here to World 3D. You're going to add a child. You're going to make an area 3D. Search it. Area 3D. Okay. Down here into the world. And you can see I've got my other ones prepared here. So name it switch. Mine will be switch 3 because I already have 2 others. Okay. Add a child to that. You're going to want a collision shape. It's okay, and then come over here to the right. And where it says shape, you want to change that to a box. Okay. And as a child of that, child node to that collision shape. It'll be a mesh instance 3D. And we'll make that mesh to a block. And all this will do is let you see it. So if we click back on our switch and hit F, scroll in, you can see here's our switch. Okay. Ignore the guys standing in there. And yes, I still only make beans. Okay. So it's going to need a script. So I want you to right click, attach script, or do it up top. Okay, and you can just call it switch. Fine. I'm going to cancel because I already made one. I'll show you what that looks like. So, in the script for the switch, you need 3 export variables. Okay, one is forward. Export variable forward. The path 3D. And this is going to be the track that it switches to. Okay. And you're going to need a backwards track. And what if you're going the other way and you hit this thing? Well, if you're coming the other way from the switched track, you need to switch back, right? So put the track. See if I can show that easier than saying it. Okay. Look at this one. So if we're going forward, okay, in this direction, in the forward, if it's on, it wants to switch us, right? So that's your forward track. If you hit it, it switches you to here. If it's not on, it'll ignore it and keep going straight. If you're coming back and you hit it, you want also nothing to happen unless you're on the track that you switched. So you know that it's not the main track, it's a branch. So yeah, so if you're coming on the branch, then you want to switch back. Does that make sense? Carrying on. Alright, so back in our script. And you also just want an active to know if it is the switch on or not. Now you need a signal. Okay, we can do this pretty easily. Come over here to your switch on the left side. And on the right side, go to Node, and then Signals, and find on Body Entered, right here, Body Entered. Click that. Connect it to your switch, right here, coming from. Double click that, and it'll add this to your script on Body Entered. Okay? So, what you want to do is check if that body is in the group bogies. Because we don't care if the guy walks by it or, you know, only the bogies. That's all it cares about. If it is, then we have to do a variable called bogie and get its parent. Because, you remember, our bogie trail, that's this body right here. When this is what collides, and it'll get return that. So we want to get the parent, which is the trail. Then we can access its scripts. So, let me get back to the switch. There it is. So get its parent, and that's the bogie. If it's moving forward, okay, and your switch is active, and your bogie path is not equal to forward, that's confusing. But this forward is a variable, and this forward is the path. Okay, up here. Maybe I can change it to path. Let's do that. Because that does get a little bit confusing. Forward path. Okay. Path. So if you're moving forward, the switch is active, and you're not on that branched track, then I want you to reparent your bogey, bogey.reparent. I want you to reparent it to the forward path. Okay. Bogey.path is going to be forward path. Okay, we want it to know what path it's on. And then its progress is going to be equal to forward path. Okay, the path dot curve dot get closest offset. Okay, and you're going to get the closest offset to that body. And what that's going to do is it's going to help compensate for speed. If you're going really fast, the game might not catch up. So maybe this offset here, lost my right here, will be closer, or maybe this offset. I'm going to grab whatever's closest and just stick it there. So it'll look hopefully more smooth. Okay? Just get the closest offset path. And I lost my, here we go, script. Okay, back to switch. And then if you're not going forward, so elif, bogey forward is false, and your switch is active, and your path equals the backward path. Okay? Or your path isn't equal to the backward path, aka the track you're coming from. You know, if you're not on the track that that branches off from, then you need to switch to the track that that branches off from, which is your backward path. Okay? Let the bogey know it's backward path. And then grab that curve's closest point. Otherwise, it'll just ignore it. Okay? Very important now is to, well, save this. Go to your, where are you at? Go to your switch. And I'm just going to delete this one real quick because I already have some. So go to your switch now. And you will see on the right side, inspector, these. Forward path, backward path. Okay? And active, whether you want it to be on or not. So let's go back to our 3D view and I'll show you how to set it. So your forward path is going to be the branch that it's going off. Okay, if it's not going to branch and just rides the main line, then, well, that's not the forward path. The forward path is the branch, whatever it splits off from your main line. Okay, so we'll assign forward path to be track 2 in this case. And your backward path is going to be where you're coming from. We're going to assign that track 1. Okay? And just to test it out, I did another one down here at the other end too. I guess for placing it, never told you guys about placing it. To place it, just put it on your, this is really hard to do blind, I'm sorry. Wow, this is not centered. Well, good. We'll do this together then. I'm going to transform. I don't know how this happens. 0, 0, 0. That's not what I wanted. This. I want this to be centered with my. I don't know how that happened. There we go. Now you can see where you're placing it. It's got to be on the new line. So ideally you'd want a little bit of a space here. Maybe it lines up with the track for a little bit before branching off. So I'm going to put it here, right here. about here. Okay, just rotate this blue so the blue aligns with your track. And you should be set. Now, I did another one because this track branches off and goes down here. And where it connects, this is important, so I'll show you. I'm like, click F. You'll see that this one faces the other way. Now, that doesn't really matter in the end. But what does matter is its forward path. I did it so I can remember. The forward path is the main line, and it's now branching here. Okay? This is kind of a opposite case scenario. Here's our main line. We're coming down. Let's say we were going this way. We're branching off right and left to stay on the main line. So you want to set it accordingly. Okay? So track forward path would be track 1. That's the track that he's already on. And track 2 will be the branched track. And it works the same the other way, because if you're coming down, you know, we hit that split earlier and we're coming down, then we're going to be going forward and we're going to hit this. We're going to go on to the forward path, which is track 1, because it doesn't match our current track. And if we're on track 2, it does, so it'll ignore it. Does that make sense to you guys? This was so hard to figure out. But if you did it right, then all you should have to do now is start up your train. Okay? And I don't remember if this one's active or not. It is. So we should be switching. You'll see that it works, it switches. And if I can get it to slow down, if we go backwards, it should merge. We're going to need to tweak these settings, but that's okay. Going backwards now, it should merge, no problem. There you go. And you can adjust where that point is by moving your switch around. So maybe it's less snappy for you. But now I'll show you. If I go over here to this switch and I click turn it off, it should ignore it. Okay, so let's try again. I'm gonna go and it should just ignore the switch. And there you go. That's how you do switches in, well, at least with this system. Okay. And I'll show you, it should work perfectly fine backwards. So we'll go to the other switch here. Right here. And again, it's going to take forever to stop. And it should branch because it is on. And there you go. So I hope this gives you guys some inspirations to make your train games come alive. I know I'm going to keep experimenting. If there's any other things train related you guys want to see that I don't naturally come up with, let me know. And I think I actually enjoy making the systems. Ooh, did you guys see that? That's if yours does that, it's a path error. So just check your paths again. Switch. Your switch is not active. Ah. Okay. Something I hadn't considered. I'll be back. Okay, so I think my temporary genius solution is just going to be to make both switch is active. Okay, if you want it more true to life, you'd have some kind of trigger or something, where when your whole train has left that switch area, it would shut off, or when it's coming into it, it would activate. But yeah, for now, we're gonna export variable other switch, or how about this, linked switch. Okay, and that's gonna be an area 3D. We're gonna set it in the inspector. Okay. If a body enters it on one end and it's active, but switching on to that branch, it'll make the other one active as well. Downside to that is if a track's coming the other way, and that's why you pulled off to the side, well, it's gonna come your way. But for now, we'll just do that. For now, till I find a solution. I just want to get you guys switching and having fun. This assumes you're only going to have one train on the line at a time in your game. Okay? So if you enter this switch, and if it's active, if you're active, then linked switch is active. Okay? If you're not active, then your linked switch isn't active. This should fix it. Just for now. If you guys want to have more than one train, then we'll come up with a better solution. But I only have one train for now. Let's test it. This one's active switch. Oh, I never set the switch. Get too excited sometimes. So active switch, linked switch will be switch 2. And it's the same for you. Linked switch will be switch 1. Alright, try again. Okay, so it is not active. That's where platform's gonna go. That's why it's so glittered, whatever you call it, glitchy. Okay, right here. Where is switch 2 active? Ooh, we did not. Switch 2 active on. Okay, yeah, it works. Ignore that track. I was trying to track editor thing. Not successful yet. Coming soon? Maybe. Should be able to just glide on in now. Yep, okay. So that works. that is switches, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully you guys get it up and going. Any questions, holler at me. I'll try to help you out. Alright? Alright.